A 2015 study by Microsoft found that a person's average attention span is about 8 seconds. Now, there have since been other studies that say that may have increased ever so slightly, but the chances are by the time I finish this sentence, you'll have lost interest. Hello, you want to come back to me? At this time especially, it's even harder to really listen, to sit down without any distractions. As a church, we're currently looking at a series called God Is, and I want to explore the subject of a God is a God that listens. There are lots of examples in the Bible of God hearing our cries from both our mouths and our heart. There are scriptures that say that if we ask anything in His name, God will hear us. Now, listening is such a big subject, especially when it comes to God's ability to listen. I want to specifically look at one characteristic of God's listening ability. So the real title I'm going to explore is this: God is perfectly okay with you having a whinge and a moan. Chances are, if you were to ever meet the Queen, you would speak to her in a very different way to how you speak to your friends and your family. And there are probably people in your life that you talk different to when you're around them. For example, the way that I speak to my team at work, which is made up of young, high energy, outgoing, late teens, early 20-year-olds, is very different to when I have to go speak to my managers. So, how do you talk to God? God is described as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and sometimes we feel we have to approach Him in such a way, making sure all our sentences are grammatically correct. We're using nice big long words, getting all our V's, our vowels, our those in the right order. We are also told, however, that God is our greatest friend, someone who is closer than a brother, someone that we can share our most intimate secrets with. Someone that we'd be able to call up in the middle of the night in tears because of a situation we find ourselves in. Someone we might yell abuse at because they're being all right and proper. It can feel strange talking to God in this way. We may even feel as though we're offending Him. However, there are examples of this type of prayer all throughout Scripture. The Psalms are full of the writers questioning God as to where He is in their current situation. Them exploring that they're struggling, the difficulties that they're having, and asking God, where is He, as He seems so absent, so distant. Really having a go at God, having a moan at God as to why He isn't there for them at this time. One example I particularly like comes in Psalm 55, verse 17. Morning, noon, and night, my complaints go up to Him, and He hears my voice. Now, as someone who likes a good moan now and then, I can really relate to that verse. However, there are other examples of people having heated discussions, debate, arguments, disagreements, and even fallings out with God. Jacob, for example, once had such a heated argument with God, he came away with a permanent limp. Jeremiah, in chapter 20, verse 3, accuses God of deceiving him, leading to Jeremiah feeling mocked and ridiculed by those around him. When God's people were wandering in the wilderness, they also liked to have a moan as well. They've been freed from slavery, and yet they still whinge and they whine. There's even times where they talk about and they moan about the manna from heaven that they have to eat every day. The food that God provides them every day, that blessing, is just not good enough for them. The rabble with them began to crave other food, and again the Israelites started wailing and said, "If only we had meat to eat. We remember the fish we ate in Egypt at no cost. Also the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions and garlic. But now we have lost our appetite. We never see anything but this manna." When Moses, the leader of the Israelites, heard that the people had been complaining, what do you think he did? That's right, that gracious, noble leader, he went and had a moan himself. "Why have you brought this trouble on your servant? What have I done to displease you, that you put the burden of all these people on me? Did I conceive all these people? Did I give them birth?" Effectively, what Moses is saying here is, am I their mother? Are they really my responsibility? So there he is, this great leader Moses, moaning about people moaning. I bet God was a bit like, do you not see what you're doing right now? Pete Greig, in his book How to Pray, says this: "The truly remarkable thing about all the rude, irreverent, self-pitying prayers recorded in the Bible, it's not that they were prayed in the first place, but they were never redacted from the text. So what does all this mean for us? It means no matter how we are feeling, we can still come to God. We don't have to change the way we think, the way we feel, the way we have to act. We don't have to try and do something more suitable. We can still come to God, and He's still there, ready to listen. I've had times in my life where I've spoken to God in gentle whispers. However, I've also had times where I've come to Him crying, bawling my eyes out. I've come to Him shouting, hollering, screaming, being really angry. I've even thrown furniture across the room. God has made us emotional beings, and it's okay to bring those emotions into our times of prayer. God won't be offended by the way you talk to Him. He just wants you to start that conversation. And then, when you've poured it all out, when you've put all your emotions out there on the table, God still won't turn away from you. He'll still be there. He'll still love you.